What is up, everybody? So some news came out yesterday in Scott Peterson's case. Scott Peterson's defense team is now going to have access to evidence which they had never had access to before. This article comes from people.com and is linked in the description below. Judge grants Scott Peterson's defense team access to decades-old evidence as he seeks exoneration. A California judge has allowed Scott Peterson's defense team access to some decades-old evidence as they appeal his murder convictions. The approval of some post-conviction discovery materials come nearly 2 decades after Peterson was convicted of the 2002 killing of his pregnant wife Lacey and their unborn son Connor. In the 207-page ruling, San Mateo County Superior Court Judge Elizabeth Hill addressed the Los Angeles Innocent Project's request for access to hundreds of pieces of evidence. In January 2024, the nonprofit organization known for their work to exonerate wrongfully convicted and incarcerated individuals said they were investigating Scott Peterson's claim of actual innocence. In her ruling, in the judge's ruling, Hill granted access to some post-conviction material, including audio and video recordings of Modesto police interviews with 2 men who were suspects in a burglary at a home across from the Petersons, as well as any handwritten notes taken by Modesto police officers who interviewed the 2 men in the back of a patrol vehicle. Peterson is also allowed access to some discovery materials under a California law that allows a defendant access to materials in the possession of the prosecution and law enforcement authorities to which the same defendant would have been entitled to at the time of trial, according to the state's penal code. The code applies to a serious or violent felonies where defendants was sentenced to 15 years or more in prison. In January of 2024, the Los Angeles Innocent Project took up Peterson's latest efforts to be released, claiming that Peterson's state and federal constitutional rights were violated. The attorneys cited updated witness statements that allegedly point to multiple areas of interest, including the burglary at the Modesto home across the street from the Petersons. Scott's attorneys have previously argued his wife was killed after she witnessed the men breaking into the neighbor's house during a dog walk while Scott was on a solo fishing trip Christmas Eve morning. The coincidence there would be disastrous if this ends up being actually true. In August, the former fertilizer salesperson spoke out in the 3-part docuseries Face to Face with Scott Peterson, once again denying that he had any involvement in the disappearance and death of Lacey and the child she was carrying. In the series, he appealed to the public to listen to his side of the story of what he termed the so-called investigation carried out by the police and prosecutors who he claimed ignored significant leads and relied solely on circumstantial evidence. Now, this next part is from courttv.com and is also linked in the description below. In a filing dated October 7th and obtained by Court TV, San Mateo County Superior Court Judge Elizabeth Hill addressed more than 600 pieces of evidence that Peterson's defense had requested access to. Peterson's defense, in their attempt to convince a judge he deserves a new trial, had asked for a number of items related to a burglary at the home of Rudy and Susan Medina, Medina, who lived diagonally across from the Petersons. 2 men tied to the burglary, Stephen Todd and Donald Pierce, were cleared as suspects in Lacey's disappearance. Judge Hill denied Peterson's request for all Modesto police reports, the steps officers took to verify Pierce and Todd's alibis, and more information about their polygraph exams. But Judge Hill granted Peterson's team access to audio and video recordings and transcripts of the suspects' interviews with police, as well as handwritten notes from the officers who conducted the interviews. Peterson's team will also be able to review the 2003 search warrants relating to the Medina burglary, as well as photos of evidence found, which includes items identified as not belonging to the Medinas. Why wouldn't the judge, this is in any case like this, if the people that did the investigations did everything correctly, have nothing to hide, why wouldn't the judge, I'm not saying they do, but why wouldn't the judge just allow access to everything? And then they can be like, hey, look, we were correct this entire time. Scott Peterson is guilty. He did it. It always seems like, and again, I'm not saying they are, but it always seems like they're hiding something when they only release specific pieces of evidence. It's always so strange. Like, just give them everything. If you're so sure that you are correct, just give them everything and then be like, hey, look, you're still wrong. Peterson's team has also focused on Laci Peterson's watch. Carl Jensen, a defense investigator, told the court he was contacted by a man who said he was in jail watching TV and saw a court TV report about the pawn of a watch that might have been Laci's. Upon seeing the story, he recalled that in mid-February 2003, a friend named Dina, Renfro, and her friend Anthony, Scarlata, asked him if he wanted to buy a watch. He described a watch they showed him as a medium size with lots of diamonds, but investigators tracked down those leads years ago and determined that the watch was not the same, prompting the judge to deny any further access to records in the case. Peterson and his defense team had previously asked to be allowed to perform DNA testing on a bloodstained mattress found in a burned-out orange van less than a mile from the Petersons' home the day after Laci was reported missing. Why wouldn't you just be like, test it, find out? Either way, just find out. Hill previously denied the request and noted in her latest ruling, the court does not view the orange van evidence as casting doubt on Peterson's guilt because no witness or forensic evidence obtained ever established that Laci Peterson was in the orange van. How do you know if you don't do the DNA testing? However, it is apparent, based on the involvement of Detective Shipley and the cross-referencing of the investigation of the two cases, that the orange van was part of the investigation of offenses charged. That reasoning led Judge Hill to grant Peterson's team access to a complete copy of the DOJ Central Valley Crime Laboratory file and documents relating to the collection of fingerprints from the van. In July, Judge Hill issued an order that outlined how DNA testing on a piece of duct tape recovered from Laci Peterson's pants at the time of her autopsy would proceed. The judge ordered that testing be conducted within 45 days and the results would be submitted under seal. Again, why hide it makes no sense. They did this, they have the results, it is under seal. So why under seal? Why not let people know, that what they found? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Why are they hiding stuff? If I'm not saying he's innocent, I'm not saying he's guilty. I have my own beliefs, and I think everything that he did was extraordinarily weird after they found Laci and Connor. It's just so strange, all the things that he did. But who knows? Maybe who knows why he did the things that he did. But now, why are they just not allowing access to things that could prove that they are correct? Why submit this under seal? Why not be like, this is the results? It was Laci's DNA on this mattress, or on this duct tape, or it wasn't. Just tell people. Court filings suggest that the testing was completed in August. There has been no further public notice of the testing and results. I wonder if Scott Peterson's team was made aware of the results. You would think they would have to be, right? I don't know. It's very strange. However, that's what came out yesterday. It's very interesting. This case, ever since the Innocent Project picked up this case, a lot of information has been coming out, and now the defense team has information to new things that they didn't have access to before. It's going to be interesting to see hear what's on those tapes, see what was on those reports that were handwritten. Whew, what do you think? Do you think Scott Peterson is guilty? Do you think he was innocent? Do you think his rights were violated? See, there's a way he can get out of prison and not actually be innocent of the crime. If his rights were violated, he could be released as well. It's strange how it works. But yeah, what do you think? Do you think he's innocent? Do you think he's guilty? Do you think his rights were violated? Do you think he's going to stay in prison? Do you think he's going to get out? What do you think? Let me know. Leave some comments below. I hope you're having a good day, and I will see you again soon.